Ski season may be wrapping up, but it's the perfect time to shift gears from powder days to patio days with Patio Place at Ski Haus. With 3 locations in Salem, New Hampshire, where you can shop tax-free, Woburn and Framingham, Massachusetts, Patio Place at Ski Haus is your one-stop shop for everything you need to transform your outdoor space. From premium patio sets and umbrellas to fire pits and accessories, they've got your summer setup covered. Shop online, then swing by to test it, feel it, and get expert advice from the pros. Your dream backyard starts here, and every order is placed in store. Whether you're hosting neighborhood barbecues or just soaking up sunshine with your morning coffee, the Patio Place at Ski Haus helps you make the most of outdoor living. Stop by Salem, Woburn, or Framingham and head to skihaus.com. That's skihaus.com to check store hours and get exact locations.
Welcome to Season 4 of the Ski Moms podcast. We're your hosts, Nicole and Sarah.
The Ski Moms are super excited to be talking to Phoebe Mills today. Her current role is the Vice President of Camp Experiences and Programming at Woodward. I'm going to learn all about that. And Sarah and I always get giddy because we're talking to another Olympian. And we're going to talk a bit about her journey there, but mostly we want to talk about ways to keep ourselves and our kids busy 365 with mountain fun in mind. So welcome, Phoebe.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
We actually met Phoebe years ago, and we want to preface this by saying this was not Phoebe's idea, but there was a very young director of marketing who was trying to convince Sarah and I to put on the wooden skis and jump off the ramp into the foam pit. Am I getting that right?
No, it was
Sarah?
a scooter down a ramp into a foam pit. And we thought we could probably get down, maybe, but we weren't sure about getting out of the foam pit. That looked like a challenging. And so there was a young man named Seabass, and he did everything, and we just enjoyed it through him.
We took video. But so we have met you before, but we're excited, so excited to have you back on the podcast. And I did want to go over your bio. You're actually an attorney and an Olympic medal winner.
Yes, I am. I'm not a practicing attorney, but I did go to law school, graduate. I was licensed in Vermont. I practiced for a couple of years, but since I've been full-time with Woodward, I set that aside. And yes, I've been to the Olympics twice, once as an athlete in gymnastics in 1988. I earned a bronze medal on the balance beam. And then I went back in 2014 as a snowboard judge for the men's and women's slopestyle and halfpipe contests.
Oh, that's amazing. I thought it was one of those AI errors when I was trying to pull up a bio for you. I was like, well, clearly she wouldn't have had time to go to law school and practice law in addition to everything she's done. And you're a mom.
I am a mom. I have a beautiful 13-year-old daughter named Esme.
Okay, well, so AI for the win. They did it. And I would love to, we're going to put a pin in the learning how to be a judge for anything, because Sarah and I like to judge people all the time. And if we could get recognized for it, I think fantastic. But we're here to talk to you today because of your current title. And I want to make sure I get this one right, as the Vice President of Camp Experiences and Programming at Woodward.
Yes, that's what I've been doing the last couple of years. My career with Woodward has been over 15 years at this point. So I've been at various locations, various positions. But yes, that's what I've been doing since about 2022.
We will definitely talk a little bit about your Olympic background, but I do want to make sure everybody knows what Woodward is, who owns it, where we can find them, what is the concept and the business model there.
Yes. Woodward is a global action sports company, and we're here to inspire the next generation of athletes. We have different experiences across the country, residential summer camps, day camps, what you would know as ski resorts, but we call them Woodward Mountain Experiences, Woodward Mountain Centers, experiences that are wholly Woodward. Woodward Experience would be like a Woodward terrain park at Mount Bachelor. Copper has a pretty immersive Woodward experience. So at this point, We are a lot of things to a lot of people, but what it all comes down to is the inclusive culture we create for learning and growing within action sports, being defined as snowboarding, free skiing, mountain biking, skateboarding, BMX, scooter, and parkour.
And where will we find the various Woodward locations?
So right now we are pretty well spread out across the country. The original Woodward is in a little town called Woodward, Pennsylvania, right in the center of the state of Pennsylvania. It's a massive campus. We opened up there in 1970 and have been running youth summer camps for that many years at Woodward, Pennsylvania. Then we opened Woodward West in California. It's in Southern California, outside of Bakersfield, about 2 hours from LA. And that is a very similar model. It's a residential summer camp, wholly focused on skateboarding, BMX, scooter, and parkour. And then from there, we expanded into the mountain spaces. And our first mountain center was Woodward Copper. We opened in 2009. And then we expanded to Woodward Tahoe in 2012. And then Woodward Park City in 2019. Meanwhile, also developing Woodward mountain experiences, so Woodward terrain parks across a variety of resorts. Woodward's owned by Powder. Powder has some of the best resorts in the world. Snowbird here in Utah, Copper Mountain, Mount Bachelor. So some great resorts that Woodward has experiences at as well.
So we were talking a little bit about your bio. What a journey. Did you have an interest in all sports and then somebody focused you along the way and was like, oh, your body type, your balance, go into gymnastics?
You know, it's really interesting. I think I have always been drawn to a variety of sports. I got into gymnastics early with my sisters, but our family was a speed skating family. So we would go every weekend up. I grew up in Illinois. We would go to Wisconsin and Canada and speed skate. And a number of my brothers and sisters went on to do that. I have 5 brothers and sisters. But we would also take an annual trip out west. We'd all get in the van and we'd go out once a year to Colorado or Utah, New Mexico, and have our ski trip. But then when my gymnastics coaches didn't really know about those trips at the end, because when I got very serious into gymnastics, that was sort of all I did. However, a year after the Olympics, I went back to school, high school, because I was doing some online schooling, and I got into diving right away. And my high school had a diving team, and then I went on to college as part of the diving team at the University of Miami. And then after that, when I was graduating, my sister was in Vail, Colorado, because she was figure skating. And I said, I want to learn snowboarding. I had gotten exposed to skateboarding at Woodward in the summertime and just appreciated the culture and the expression, very different than gymnastics. And so I decided I wanted to learn how to snowboard. I went out there, it took a couple days, but I got it. I fell in love. And so then I decided after college to move to Vermont. And that's where I got into coaching and teaching snowboarding. And then when I went to law school, I stayed involved by getting into judging.
That's amazing. And that sounds like you're just a lifelong learner and appreciator of, different ways to move your body and get outdoors.
Yeah. Through Woodward, I was introduced to mountain biking as we were developing some mountain bike trails at Woodward Tahoe when I was there, and then Woodward Park City. So, just in the last 6-7 years, I've gotten into mountain biking, and I do love all the outdoor activities. I hike a lot, and I'm so lucky to live in beautiful mountain towns where the accessibility to the outdoors is incredible.
Well, it sounds like you're just kind of good at everything you try. So it's making me
Well,
feel very,
I don't know
very
about that.
unaccomplished.
I don't know about that. It's more that I think I'm willing to give it a try and realize at this point, I don't have to be that good at it. I just
think you're being very gracious. Nicole and I have tried a lot of things that.
This episode is brought to you by Loam. the ultimate mountain biking pass for families who love to ride together. With access to top bike parks across the country, your Loam Pass will make it easy to plan summer adventures on two wheels. Whether you're new to mountain biking or raising the next downhill champion, Loam has a trail for every rider. Pass holders get over 100 days of riding at more than 50 destinations across North America. Explore bike parks, shuttle services, and exclusive perks with your pass. Ski Mom listeners get 15% off with code SKIMOMS2515 at loampass.com. That's LOAM pass.com. And our discount code is SKIMOMS2515 for 15% off your pass. Hit the trails with Loam and the Ski Moms.
We did not go on to do in college or in the Olympics, but we keep trying. I wanted to try snowboarding, but Nicole says it's probably not an option for me at this point.
I think it is at Woodward because we have these start parks and we actually have very incredible and intuitive learning environments that we've built, especially for learning to avoid all of the falling that tends to happen. So we're using the terrain and sculpting the terrain in a way that aids in learning. So I think there's still a chance if you'd like to, Sarah, come out to Woodward Park City.
Can we document it, Sarah?
Yeah.
Can we turn it into content?
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I shouldn't commit to anything, but I would love to try. But we'd love to hear more about, you mentioned that there's day camps and residential camps. And I'd love to hear a little bit about the offering of each and where we can find them.
Woodward is very focused on youth development. And we do that primarily through our programming. You, of course, have incredible environments that you can't find anywhere else. We, highly sort of developed over years, and we try to refine and improve. But really, we have these great environments, and then we bring our coaches in to create the programming. It's really where Woodward shines. And so we do a lot of learning and development type of programs. Our residential summer camps is sort of kind of the pinnacle experience where you're fully immersed for 6 or 7 days in the sport of your choosing. We're remote, so we're kind of like destination summer camps. Parents have to drive in from a couple hours, drop their kids for the week. And then, like I said, you have this very immersive experience. You're just in it. You're with other children. You're learning, how to make decisions for yourself. So independence and confidence while getting to do your sport from dawn till dusk. And so the amount of learning, both physically in your sport and emotionally and socially, is incredible. And then at our mountain centers at Woodward Park City, Woodward Tahoe, we do day camps primarily. So those are a little bit closer to bigger populations. Parents have the ability to just kind of drop off from 9 to 4. And those are also based on mostly action sports. Mountain bike is really big. And then we all have a program called Multisport. And that is really geared for younger kids and more beginner kids. And they have the ability to try different sports each day, get on a bike one day, skateboard one day, scooter one day. And so they're really getting this multi-sport experience and maybe figuring out their passion and where they want to go as they get older. And those are very popular programs. And then, of course, we have Woodward Copper, which is world-class training facility in the winter, great terrain parks. And then they do summer camps. And those are also overnight residential summer camps on snow. So they are skiing and snowboarding camps. And again, you can get just really unique experience, high-level training in the summertime. That one, they focus a little bit more. We have this scale. We call it the WIP scale. It's the Woodward Intuitive Progression Scale. And so we try to look at everything, our facilities, our programs, our experiences through this lens of beginner to elite athlete. Our day camps are really great feeder programs at the lower end of the ability spectrum. When you get into the overnight camps and Woodward Copper, you're sort of going up on that scale of ability level.
Okay, so a bunch of follow-up questions. My kid is a beginner. I don't have any of the gear, and they're interested, they're curious about what happens at these parks. They look at a skate park when they're in the city and they're like, "Ooh, that looks like fun." But I don't know where to start, and they don't know where to start. Is there a place for that kid at Woodward?
Yes. Yes. So that one is our multi-sport program I was just talking about. In those camps, everywhere we do them, we provide the gear. We don't expect a family to come with a skateboard and a bike and a scooter. So in the multi-sport programs, we provide all the gear for that. And then at our mountain centers, we have daily lessons. So there's skateboard lessons, there's snowboard lessons, there's mountain bike lessons. And a lot of the group lesson programming is designed for beginners. And then as you go through the program and you develop, then we have 4-week programs, and then we have season-long programs and after-school programs. So a lot of ways for you to enter depending on your ability level. When you get to the top, the elite athletes, we serve more as a venue, a training venue for those athletes to come, maybe even with, their own coach or the national team coach, and they can just sort of train in our world-class facilities.
Sounds amazing. What is the age range for the mountain option day camp and the residential camp? Are they different?
Yeah. They skew a little bit younger for our day camps. At Woodward Tahoe, we have this micro program, and they go down as young as age 5. Most of the camps will start at age 7 and go until 17. And even our residential camps, we start at 8, we go till 17.
I love that because Nicole and I have 17-year-olds, and I think as we look at camps, there's there's a lot fewer options. I think once you get over 15, 16. So it's really nice to see that they could still do a program like this at 17.
Yeah, they can come to summer camp and be sort of the king or queen of the campus as the older youth that we have, and they've really usually at that point they've been coming for a number of years. And then we have programs for them beyond that. So we have a junior counselor program where young staff can start to work with us. And then, of course, we'd love to develop junior counselors into full-time staff members. And that's really one of the great things about where we operate. Of course, we need a lot of coaches and counselors. And we have a new Woodward Academy program where we're trying to help develop and train the coaching skills for our staff. But then you can also just come and work in food and beverage or retail or patrol or health and safety. So there's a lot of different career opportunities, and you can really find your niche, what you want to get into.
I want to talk a moment about the residential camps. Are these camps, my kids went to a YMCA camp for years, and there was just as much time on the lake as there was making friendship bracelets and some truly horrible ceramic creations that came home from that camp. Are these kids only doing sports, or are they getting other opportunities to do traditional camp fun?
100% traditional camp fun. When we're out there, and as I mentioned, these destinations, sort of more rural environments, we have the natural environment we get to play in as well, especially at our campus in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, we have a small pond, but the campers love to fish. We have a ropes course, high ropes course in the trees. We have go-karts, we have swimming pools. And what we've been really exploring the last couple of years is immersing more of the cultural and lifestyle elements of action sports into our camps. And really what I'm speaking about is music, art, content creation. And so this summer we're exploring electives where you obviously sign up for your sport, what skateboarding, BMX, but then in the afternoon you can choose an elective track in one of those 3 disciplines or endeavors. And then you focus on an art project for the week where you're creating content and trying to create an edit for the week, or you're forming a band and performing at the talent show. So we do have all those traditional camp activities going on as well. And I think that's sort of the gem of what we do. We're blending sport with recreation. We're also blending coaching and focused coaching with free exploration in the parks, where the children can decide, hey, this afternoon, I'm going to go to this park and work on this trick with these 3 friends that I just met. And so it's a really great balance of structure with also allowing free time, and then learning beyond sport, beyond your wheels. At some point, you got to set the bike down, take a break, and we have very immersive activities then as well.
And tell us a little bit about, for the residential camp, the accommodations and the food situation.
Yes. So at our residential camps in Pennsylvania and California, we have cabins. So they're large cabins. They can fit 14, 15 campers plus a counselor. Usually the way they're set up, they're sort of, you walk out of your cabin and you're at the skate park, but each cabin has 2 sides and a counselor in each side. And then at Woodward Copper, they use their employee housing as camper housing. And so it's a little bit smaller rooms, just a couple kids per room, and a counselor overseeing a couple of rooms. And then we all have a variety of food and beverage options. So we have a main camp cafeteria, which serves hot meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then all the other stuff where the children might be a little picky with the main course: cereal bar, pasta bar, salad bar, fruit bar, bagel bar. And then our camps also have a grill. So you can sort of choose between the main cafeteria, go outside to the grill, get hamburgers and hot dogs and chicken sandwiches. And that's all included. Your room and board is included with your camp tuition. But then we also have some fun hangout spots where campers come. They have a bank, a camp bank, we call it. Their parents give them a bit of spending money, and they can go to our coffee shop or our canteen that has more of the ice cream and junk food, or go to our retail store and buy some merchandise. So again, that's where they're sort of learning some skills around, how to have a bank account and manage their money for the week.
I don't mean to be the skunk at the picnic, but what happens? These kids are flipping, they're flying, they're pushing their boundaries with new skills. Inevitably, somebody's going to get hurt. Sorry, I'm a mom, I'm a realist here. How is that handled at the camps?
Great question. Yes, these are inherently, a lot of sports are inherently risky if you're not doing things in a safe and controlled environment. And even if you are, kids are going to get hurt here and there. So we have a great medical program. What we do at our summer camps is we have nurses. They're more in charge with, dispersing medication. If a camper might be coming with medication, we have nurses. And then, they help with sickness and tummy aches and those sort of things. And then we also have certified athletic trainers. And those staff deal more with the injuries, the sprains and breaks and bruises. And we love having athletic trainers at camp because it's what they hope to do is keep the camper going. Obviously, if we have to take a camper off site, get an x-ray, get a cast, when they come back, we hope to keep them engaged doing what they can do. So maybe it's not so much on the sports side, but they're doing some of these recreational activities. And then we also have overseen physicians, medical partnerships to ensure that our campers are well taken care of.
And I'm sure we're going to sign all the waivers as we do with every single camp before they arrive. But on the first few days, are you and your team instilling a sense of how you safely progress and how you, safely play? It could be on snow or it could be indoors. Is that part of the early and often messaging at these camps?
100%. It's, not just the start of camp, it's throughout camp. And we have a couple of tools we use. First of all, during our orientations, well, even leading up to it, I would say the amount of information we're sending You can't come with just any helmet. It has to be a certified helmet. We recommend kids are wearing pads. We don't require those. We just require the helmet. But if you're used to wearing pads, bring your pads. We have all that safety gear on site. So ahead of time, we're trying to equip parents with the information they need. But certainly once they arrive, we're going through camper orientations. We're reminding children around park etiquette. The reason we have coaches and coaching groups is so that we can make sure kids are working on skills that are appropriate to their ability level. And then, of course, we've designed our facilities to aid in falling, more or less, falling into a foam pit or soft resi surface before, mastering your skill in those environments before taking them to the wood or the concrete or the dirt. We have a number of airbags at Woodward Park City. And so it's sort of built into our DNA, the idea of safe progression. So whether it's through how we're communicating, we have additional, the traditional signs you see like Park Smart and Smart Style. We have a Woodward Way, which talks about inclusive behavior. So it's really ingrained in what we do. And it's not just a one time, it's sort of carried on throughout our week. We also partner with other organizations around just child safety and children understanding just basic safety concepts, who a safe adult is, and allowing them to learn how to take care of themselves and protect themselves. We have this great program with Monique Burr Foundation. It's the word of the day. And so again, there's a theme every day of camp where we're focused on, maybe it's bullying or cyberbullying or safe progression. So it's broad and throughout the experience at Woodward.
Can you tell us a little more about what a normal day schedule looks like?
Yeah. So with our residential camps, and really even day camp, a lot of our camps operate the same way each day. The schedule is more or less the same each day. You're waking up, you're having breakfast, and then you're going to instruction. And at the beginning of the week, we do a bit of an assessment to figure out everybody's ability level so that we can group them by sport, by ability level, and then by age, ideally as well, too. And so they go after breakfast into their morning instruction groups, and they're with a coach, about an 8-to-1 ratio, and they're really focused on what they're going to learn for that session. Campers get to fill out what we call a progression card at the beginning of the week, and that's where they're setting out their goals. And then throughout the week, we're tracking those goals, measuring progress, checking things off, adding new things. But again, in the morning, we start with that focused instruction. We break for lunch, a little bit of downtime, rest, some activities, and then we'll typically go into an afternoon instruction period as well, a little bit shorter. This is where we also have those rec electives available for art and music and content creation. And then after the afternoon instruction, there's usually a sport event. So maybe there's a high jump contest for the bikers or a power slide contest for the skateboarders. There's kind of game activity in your sport. And then we have a little bit of downtime after that. It's open skate every afternoon around 3:00. Everything just opens up and it's open skate. We have staff around the different parks to aid in progression and safety. And then we have dinner. And then we usually come together for an evening clinic in your sport. And then we end with an all camp recreation activity. So it might be a bonfire with s'mores. I think I mentioned earlier, a talent show. We have a really fun VIP Q&A where we have a lot of professional athletes that join us for a week of camp as mentors. And we'll get them all in front of the campers and we have a bit of a Q&A with them. We ask questions, the campers can ask questions, and then there's an autograph signing as well. So we really jam pack those days at our day camps, at 4. Sorry, you got to go home. You don't get to keep going with us, but we really jam pack those days. There's always something going on, with also the ability to have chill stations and downtime. And then we kind of rinse and repeat each day until we get to pick up.
How do you handle phones? One of the great parts of summer camp in my experience, is that my kids were unplugged for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever the case may be. I heard you mentioning content creation, and you're going to need a camera for that. What is the policy at your camps about being online and capturing content?
That's a great question. And this is where I would say Woodward is a little different than a traditional summer camp, because we do allow children to bring their phones to camp with them. What we do is we collect phones at bedtime. And before lights out, we go around and we collect those phones. We want to make sure everybody, isn't scrolling all night, getting a good night's sleep. And then we keep those phones in the morning during breakfast and through morning instruction. And then we do give the phones back. We let campers pick up their phones at lunchtime, and then they have them throughout the day until bedtime again. And we found that that's struck a pretty good balance for us, where kids that don't have, the younger kids may not have phones at all. A lot of parents make that decision and they don't come with parents. But those teenagers who are so used to it, we've again found that this has struck a pretty good balance for them. And then, yes, if they do want to be joining our content elective, which has had great enrollment so far in Pennsylvania, they can use their phone for that, to collect that content. And obviously they can then chat with parents and friends as well. We also have a partnership with GoPro, where they are providing cameras for the campers to check out each day. And so we kind of have these two tracks now, where you can make an edit of the week on your GoPro for those campers, or on your phone if it's more designed to go onto social media. But we understand, we have a responsibility in that space too, and we're trying to ensure that children understand how to safely navigate the social media platforms as well.
I finished Jonathan Haidt's book, Anxious Generation, last summer. And one of his big points for getting our kids less anxious and, healthier mentally was summer camps are such a huge opportunity for them to get away from hovering parents and to practice, riskier skills and take more responsibility for their bodies, their decisions themselves. And it sounds like a really nice balance. Yes, they can get online, but they're also probably taking more physical risks than my kids did at YMCA Camp Mohawk.
Yeah, I think that's one of the special things about Woodward, whether it's the fully immersed summer camp experience or a visit to any of our parks and mountain centers, is that it's designed to be a safe place where you can be yourself and get out of your comfort zone with a lot of support and nurturing around you. Yeah, I've had parents explain that they'd rather come to a Woodward skate park than the public skate park, because there's sometimes that element at a public skate park that you can't control, and things happening that you don't necessarily want your child to get exposed to. And so, we do our best to contain and control that environment as much as we can. I'm not saying things don't happen. Of course they do. But we have the supervision, we have the structure, and we have the programming laid out in a way where I don't think we're overly prescriptive in how a child should progress or which direction they should go in, as long as we're creating that positive, nurturing, supportive environment. And it's incredible when somebody on one side of the park lands something, and it could be something very simple or something very difficult, the whole place erupts in celebration for that moment.
So if I was listening right now and I thought these camps sound amazing, and I have a 9-year-old daughter who's really not focused on one sport, would you recommend the multi-sport for week 1, and then they would maybe focus on something if they particularly liked it? How does registration work if you're
Yeah.
broad?
Yeah, I would recommend a 9-year-old who's just getting into these sports or hasn't done much of them. I would recommend multi-sport. And it's interesting, we do see a lot of youth stay in multi-sport for a while. And then maybe the next summer, they've found one of the sports that they're really passionate about. Or they might come for multi-sport 8, 9, 10 years old and then advance on to something when they get focused. So I love our multi-sport program, and I encourage people to start there and do it as long as they can, really, because then you're getting so many skills and exposed to all the different sports.
I've had the opportunity to tour the Woodward copper, and I've bounced around inside there. Super fun. I've done flips into the foam pits without incident. And the super trampoline at copper is amazing. So you, as a family, you can get day passes. Can you still do that during the summer at these locations, or are they shut down for camp?
That's a great question. So at our residential camps, we have family camps as well. And so usually we do those Memorial Weekend and Labor Day weekend, and they're 3-day family camps. And they've been really fun experiences for the whole family to get involved with. We also have opportunities for just day visits on the weekends in the residential camps. At the mountain centers, so they tend to operate in tandem. Woodward Park City operates in tandem with its day camp programming and its public programming. I will say during the day in summer, it's mostly youth, but on the mountain, there can be families doing lessons, just riding the mountain bike trails. Same thing at Woodward Tahoe. And then at Copper, the on snow piece is again very directed towards the summer campers. But then they have weekend sessions in the barn there where all ages can come. And then we also are all doing adult camps. If, as an adult, you want to come and try it out and really immerse, you could come for up to a week. Copper's got a week-long adult camp, Woodward West. Woodward Park City does more of their daily adult programming. Woodward West, there's adult camps. So we really try to make sure there's some way for everybody to get involved. We see a lot of adults that end up at the camps and they just wish they had gotten there as a kid, and now they can finally get themselves there. We pride ourselves, especially at the mountain centers, for that accessibility to all ages and all abilities, 365 at Woodward Park City.
And do women do it, or do you find it's mostly men?
Well, it depends on the sport. So within our action sports, meaning skateboard, scooter, BMX, it's mostly boys and men. We have a much smaller group of women, but we have begun a couple years ago a Women in Action Sports Advisory Council. So I chair it. We have women leaders across Woodward that are on the council, and we have external council members as well, professional athletes like Jamie Anderson, professional snowboarder, professional skateboarder Lizzie Armanto, Barrett Christie, one of the original professional women snowboarders, some folks from outside the industry as well. And so we're really focused on how we can grow girls and women in these sports. I will say we're more balanced when we get to snowboarding and skiing and mountain biking, much more balanced. So it's a lot of the skateboard, BMX, scooter sports where we're really trying to expand our reach. And we've focused on a couple things, events. So we did an amazing event at Woodward Park City at the end of the season called Uninvited. It was a women's snowboarding event and very well attended, a great energy. I felt like this is what events were back in the 90s, and just, again, a really supportive, inclusive community out there. We do an event with Jamie Anderson at Woodward Tahoe. So part of it is through events and just exposing girls and women to come watch, participate, join the event. And then the other way is just through our programming. So making sure that we have women coaches, women mentors, and we're creating an environment that feels safe and not intimidating for girls. So sometimes we'll give a park just to the girls for an hour, or we'll invite. We work with some nonprofits like Exposure Skate, and they come in, they take over a week of camp, and they just go all in with girls programming, art activities, coaching. They bring in extra coaches, and it just feels really like it's their space, not they're joining the boys' camp. So we're still working on that, like I said, to continue to increase girls and women and access and their sense of belonging in these sports as well.
How do you and your daughter play outside? What are some of your favorite adventures?
Well, we love to snowboard, and I love that she's never skied. Of course, she's welcome to, and we've encouraged it, but she is a snowboarder, true and true. And she's not diehard, like maybe like her parents, but she has fun. She's very social. She loves to do it with her friends. And she got really good this winter. She joined my husband's snowboard program. He runs the Park City snowboard team. And she joined that one day a week and got really good. So it's so fun to see her progress. Still trying to get her on the mountain bike, but she's enjoying being with her friends outside for the most part, bouncing on trampolines.
Does she go to some of the summer camps?
Yeah, she has. She really had the luxury of coming up through Woodward. And so from a really young age, she was able to do all the programs, whether it was, we have a Mountain Kids program at Woodward Tahoe, Woodward Park City, where it's sort of every weekend for 4 weeks or so. So she came through, she did all the mountain programs, and then she's done all the summer camps. And now as she gets older, she's sort of figuring out, she has a little bit more say in what she does each summer, but we get to at least a few camps each summer.
Can you talk about the cost of the camps? Do they vary by location? And is there financial aid available?
Yes, they do vary. So our overnight camps are the more expensive ones, usually $1,500 plus. And then our day camps are more affordable, anywhere from $600 to $900 for the week. And we do have scholarship programs. We have really robust scholarship programs where children can apply, families can apply through us. We have a scholarship application and then a committee that will go and just sort of review all those and make awards of varying amounts depending on the financial need. And then we also give a lot of scholarships to nonprofits that we work with, Stoked Mentoring, Chill Foundation, Montana Pool Service, and they'll, help find the youth to come and use those scholarships. We also have a lot of flexible payment options, especially with the overnight camps, where you can just put a $199 down and then just pay as you go till you get to camp.
Anything else, Phoebe, before we have a closing question, but anything else on the camps that you want to mention that we didn't get to before we close it out?
I would just say that Woodward can sometimes be intimidating or look intimidating, some of the images we put out, all the professional athletes that we put out. But I would like to just reiterate that we are for everybody. And if you're just getting into these sports, we have great coaches, premier facilities, and you really can't get a learning experience anywhere else like you can at Woodward with the tools and the staff that we have. So I just encourage, don't be scared, try it, come try it. You'll find it's really inviting and welcoming when you get to Woodward.
So normally we ask about après, envisioning winter, but in Park City, it's so beautiful in the summer. What does an after adventure experience look like in Park City for you?
Well, on a work day, the after adventure is the adventure, right? Getting outside after work on the trails. I try to get back to my back deck as as quickly as possible, but there are so many amazing venues. I love the Park City Brew Pub that's right here in Kimball Junction. I do have to say Snowbird has one of the best après scenes, and it's true summer or winter. that deck out at Snowboard. And this time of year, they do music every weekend. So if I can get up there for a couple of laps and then enjoy the deck for après, that's where I'm going.
Phoebe, thank you so much for your time. Sarah's ready to take snowboard lessons. I want to go to a mountain bike clinic. We want to make sure all the kids are going there. We are really grateful for you setting our expectations in the right direction, knowing that beginners are welcome and everybody has to start somewhere.
Well, I appreciate you. I don't know if this is like deviating from what you normally talk about with action sports, but I'm so happy that you reached out and I was able to speak with you about Woodward, because it could be really transformative for a lot of youth.
Hey, ski moms, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and got some great tips for your next family ski adventure. If you had as much fun listening as we did making this episode, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest episodes. And don't forget to rate and review us. Your feedback helps us bring you more of the content you love and helps other ski moms find our podcast. Plus, we love hearing from you. So whether you're on the slopes or just dreaming of your next snowy getaway, stay connected with us. Follow us on social media, share your favorite episodes with your friends, and let's keep this awesome community growing.